Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Proactive Longevity Academy. Today, I have Dr. John Layke talking to us about stem cells and exosomes and why there's such a hot topic in regenerative medicine.
So listen, first of all, I'd love to thank all the listeners and viewers for sending in all of your feedback and emailing the questions, because ultimately this is how we come up with the topics and we want to answer what interests you. So keep them coming.
All right, so how do stem cells and exosomes help the body? Like, how does regenerative medicine help the body?
Stem cells function in the body by having unique ability. They do two things. One is they self-renew, which means they can make more of the same type of cell. And they can also differentiate into specialized cells, allowing them to replace damaged or dead cells within a tissue, and essentially acting as a repair mechanism for the body. And this makes them highly valuable in regenerative medicine, where the goal is really to repair damaged tissue and organs, and by introducing new and healthy cells. Exosomes become really important because they're really responsible for cellular communication. The idea is exosomes are the tiny little vesicles that carry all of the messaging. So when stem cells are introduced into the body, they have to know what to do and where to go. And exosomes are responsible for that guiding principle. Ultimately, what they'll do is they attach to new stem cells, take some of that information, and they can send new signals to existing cells. And so the idea is, when these work synergistically, imagine they're almost like the worker bees that ultimately head out of the hive and find the area to repair and then communicate with each other.
Like, we talk in regenerative medicine about repair and sometimes about longevity. So when we're talking about repair, some of the areas that many people are using stem cells are in joints, such as like knees. And can you tell us a little bit more about how exosomes and stem cells help in those areas?
Definitely. So we really use them, when we think about kind of differentiating two different types of therapies for stem cell and exosome. We talk about infusions. One is in the blood, and so it's kind of a shotgun approach where we're trying to infuse the system with healthy new cells and their growth factors. But we also target joint and specific injuries. The issue that we have right now with stem cells and exosomes is that the potential is there to do amazing things. But we can't quite control it just yet. I can't say if I infuse these stem cells or exosomes in through an IV that they'll go towards a bum knee that you've had for the last couple of years. Now, what we can do is intra-articular injections. And what we do is, through using either ultrasound or fluoroscopic guidance, we can localize injuries that occur to tendons, to cartilage, to degenerative changes of bone. And when you localize those and inject directly, imagine that you're taking a lot of the guesswork out from where these cells are going to go. And so when you deliver the repair mechanisms immediately to the work site, it just makes it easier for the construction to occur.
Great, thank you. And then with longevity, you talked a little bit just now about infusions into the bloodstream. What kind of benefits, or what are people seeing, or why would you do that?
Sure. Well, listen, remember, we're introducing healthy, brand new cells that haven't been damaged by typical wear and tear throughout life. And, if we really think of how diseases start, we accumulate genetic insults as we age. So whether it's environmental or we can do the sun, or all kinds of smoking, anything that can slowly chip away and damage the DNA. The idea is we are delivering the healthy new types of potential and codes that can give the body the roadmap on how to essentially reset itself. And so the reason why we infuse into the blood, I'm sure you've heard about the chronic parabiosis study where the younger mouse was essentially attached to the older mouse. And we saw that the older mouse started turning younger and would last longer. And initially, we thought that it was essentially because the younger mouse was supplying all of these nutrients and new cells to the older mouse. But there were more things happening than just that. The reason why we essentially will infuse into the blood is because in about 6 to 8 weeks, the cell function and repair processes have been reprogrammed. And so where there is damage in the body, and we use this to treat not only degenerative changes, autoimmune diseases, neurodegenerative issues, there are all kinds of things that essentially, because the DNA has been damaged, and we no longer have the bandwidth in our bodies as we age to repair those processes, we need brand new cells to bring us those signals. And so ultimately, IV infusion is probably the best way we know how at this time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Layke, for introducing us to stem cells and exosomes.
Of course. Listen, we'll see you soon, and hopefully you learned something.